Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at another Pokemon that received a move update for Season 12 of Go Battle League, XL Ledian. Now, XL Ledian received not one, but two move updates. It gets to learn the new move Dynamic Punch, and on top of that, its existing move Silver Wind now does more damage. I tried out Ledian on two teams to see if the buffs are going to make it more viable. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out XL Ledian in action in the Great League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a pretty rough lead, Ledian into Wigglytuff. I'm going to save switch into Quagsire, and the Wigglytuff is staying in. Honestly, that works out for me. I build up to the Earthquake, and I'm baiting with the Stone Edge, trying to grab a shield. Stone Edge does get no shielded by the Wigglytuff. That is a little unfortunate. I will be able to reach a second Stone Edge, but Wigglytuff is going to be able to shield this up and farm my Quagsire all the way down. So Wigglytuff leaves with very little HP, but quite a lot of energy. I'm going to bring in my Exca and try and commit to a very aggressive one shield farm down. I shield up the Ice Beam, Exca going for the farm down, and I'm able to get there. That's huge. They have a Shadow Swampert, and I have back-to-back drill runs. These are going to hurt. First one gets the shield. Second one is going to be getting that Swampert into the red health. And then I will immediately switch into Ledian. Ledian going for the farm down. Swampert switches out, and in comes Nidoqueen. And I'm just going to start spamming out Silver Winds, hoping for the boost. Unfortunately, everything I throw is going to be resisted here. Nidoqueen farms up a ton of energy, and they're going to fire off a move. Here's where the bulk of XL Ledian is quite nice. Nidoqueen is a debuffer, but the bulk of Ledian means they're going to need to fire off a few Poison Fangs to take me out. I'm able to land the next Silver Wind here. Nidoqueen is pretty low, and they're going to be firing off another Fang. I decide to let this go. Switch clocks up, I bring in Excadrill, and they're forced to throw a move. That is huge. From here, I believe Ledian should be able to close out this game. Farms down the Nidoqueen, farms down the Swampert, and that is a good game. The bad leads continue in the next match, Ledian into Granbull. I'm going to save switch into Quagsire, and my opponent responds with Venusaur. Definitely not what I was hoping to see. I'm going to shield up the Frenzy Plant because I do want to try and make a play for switch advantage. I'm going to be firing off the Stone Edge. Stone Edge is not going to KO, but I will be able to reach a second Stone Edge. So at the very least, I'm going to be able to get the shield back or grab switch advantage. Stone Edge number 2 does get shielded, and unfortunately I'm not able to win back switch. I'm going to bring in Ledian and try and fully commit to the farm down here. They're going to go for the Sludge Bomb. Ledian able to tank that no problem and fully farm down. I'm going to be immediately switching. They bring in the Granbull, and in the back, they have Talonflame. These Incinerates absolutely shredding through my poor Excadrill. Excadrill fires off the Rock Slide. Rock Slide gets the shield, and this Rock Slide will be enough to KO, but I'm low enough where Granbull can probably charm me down. So now, it's all up to Ledian. Can Ledian actually take out a Granbull? I'm going to fire off the Silver Wind. Silver Wind lands, and I get the boost. Let's go, Ledian. Ledian may actually be able to pull this off. I shield up the Crunch. They do get the defense drop. Ledian able to reach the Silver Wind, and that will be game over. Silver Wind takes down the Granbull, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Ledian into Skuntank. Bit of a neutral lead. I'm going to stay in here to start, wait for them to throw a move, bank the energy, and then bring in Excadrill. They're going to be firing off the Crunch. Crunch will do some solid damage, and then in comes Exca. Exca farming up a ton of energy, and the opponent is going to respond with Trevenant. Honestly, very nice to bait out the Trevenant. That way my Quagsire will not have to face it in the endgame. I fire off a first Rock Slide and a second one on the CMP tie. That is quite nice. Rock Slide does get the shield. Trevenant trying to get rid of Exca, but I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to shield up the Seed Bomb, throw 5 more Mud Shots, and then again win CMP. Now they have a difficult choice. Do they want to give up the final shield? They do not, and down goes Trevenant. In the back, they have Swampert. Exca is going to be able to reach the Drill Run. I tried to go for a CMP tie, but unfortunately my opponent just goes for the farm down. Ledian does have a move. I bring in Ledian, and I'm going to fire off the Silver Wind. Silver Wind is going to be doing a solid chunk of damage. Swampert commits the shield, and they're throwing a move. I'm gonna let it go, and at this point, just trust in Quagsire. In comes Quagsire, and unfortunately, there's lag. This is not great. Skuntank does have quite a bit of energy. They're gonna fire off a move. It's just a crunch, and they don't get the debuff. That's quite nice. At this point, I'm gonna try and commit to the farm down here. They go for a second crunch, and they get the debuff. That is not good. I'm forced to throw a move. I don't think I'm gonna be able to farm down anymore. Stone Edge takes them out, and I fall just short of a move. Back in comes Ledian. Ledian gets farmed down, and we lose a heartbreaking game. Terrible lead in the next match, Ledian into Haunter. I'm going to save switch into Exca, and the opponent is going to respond with Ferrothorn. Nice to bait out the Ferrothorn to keep it away from the Quagsire, but this is a tough matchup for Exca. Exca able to land the Drill Run, that does quite a bit of damage, but a Power Whip is going to KO, so I do need to commit a shield here. I do have quite a bit of energy, but unfortunately I am going to get outpaced by the Ferrothorn here. I fire off the Drill Run gets the shield, Ferrothorn actually overfarms and allows me to reach another Drill Run. In my view, that is a mistake, because now they're forced to give up their final shield, and I can take shield advantage into the end game. They go for the Power Whip, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to bring in Ledian, farm all the way down, and then I have shield advantage Quagsire versus whatever they have in the back. Power Whip isn't going to be doing basically anything. In the back, they have a Lowland Marowak. Opponent brings in Haunter. They're going to be firing off a move. I believe this is only a Shadow Punch. Quagsire will be able to tank the Shadow Punch. I overfarm by 1, and I'm firing off the Stone Edge. Marowak does have some energy. The question is, am I going to be able to reach the Stone Edge? Marowak fires off a move. Tough call. I shield at the last second. It's a Bone Club, but I'm able to get to the Stone Edge. Stone Edge should just about take down the Marowak and clutch the win. Hopping into the next match, running a different team, leading Ledian into Medicham. And as you may have noticed, I did end up switching out Silverwind for Aerial Ace because I did like the fact that Aerial Ace was able to hit for super effective damage against fighters. Ledian goes for the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace lands onto the Medicham. Medicham is going to be firing off a move. Ledian does not have to shield whatever they throw, and they actually go for a power-up punch bait. You love to see it. They're going to fire off a boosted Psychic, but Ledian does not care. Opponent brings in Nidoqueen, and Nidoqueen is going to have a terrible day going up against Runerigus. Nidoqueen fires off the Earth Power. Runerigus tanks it no problem. I farm up, and I'm going to fire off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball would do massive damage if it lands. Nidoqueen commits the shield. This is enough for another Earth Power. Tough call to make. I shield, and I get baited with a Poison Fang. That is not great. I'm going to fire off another Shadow Ball, hoping it can land, but my opponent is double shielding their Nidoqueen. At this point, I'm pretty confident they're just going for the Poison Fang, but I also know that a Poison Fang is not going to KO, and I'm going to be able to reach a third Shadow Ball. Runerigus just absolutely crushes Nidoqueen. They have Trevenant in the back, so I bring in Ledian. Opponent brings back in the Medicham. I'm able to bank double Aerial Aces and make the switch into Swampert. I'm just going to use Swampert to absorb all of Medicham's energy, farm all the way down, and at this point with 2 Aerial Aces banked, this game is over. Medicham fires off one final move. Back in comes Trevenant. I'm going to fire off the first Hydro Cannon. That does quite a bit of damage. I'm going to commit to the Earthquake to force them to throw their energy, but we have the Aerial Ace loaded on the Ledian. Ledian will be able to take down the Trevenant, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Ledian into Registeel, and we finally have a matchup where Dynamic Punch is usable. The downside, however, is that even though we have the coverage move, we get outpaced in this matchup, so I'm forced to make a catch onto my Runerigus. Zap Cannon is going to be double resisted here, and they're going to respond with Swampert. So Dynamic Punch does offer Ledian some nice coverage, but unfortunately Bug Bite just doesn't charge very quickly, which means that even in matchups where Dynamic Punch would be useful, like going up against Steels, unfortunately, a lot of the time, Ledian just ends up getting outpaced before it's able to connect with that coverage move. Swampert fires off a Hydro Cannon. I'm going to fire back with an Aerial Ace. This is not going to KO, but it should put it into farm down down range, my goal is to hopefully be able to farm down and leave with a dynamic punch loaded so I can land it onto the Registeel. They fire off another Hydro Cannon. Ledian able to farm down with energy loaded. I go for the dynamic punch, but they bring in Talonflame, not Registeel. That is quite unfortunate, and now it's all up to 2-Shield Swampert. But if we've seen anything, 2-Shield Swampert is incredibly powerful. I'm gonna farm up and go for it Hydro Cannon bait, hoping for the shield. My opponent calls it. That's not great. I'm gonna fire off a second Hydro Cannon here. Do they want to give up a shield? Yes, they do, because they more than likely are going to be Zap Cannoning me here. Registeel does go for the Zap Cannon, and since it's my only Pokemon, I have no way to reset this debuff. I'm going to overfarm as much as I can and fire off the Hydro. Hydro takes out the Registeel, and now it's Swampert versus Talonflame. I'm going to fire off yet another Hydro. Swampert putting in so much work here in the endgame. Talonflame is going to fire off a move, but they cannot hold back-to-back Brave Birds. I shield the Flame Charge, and I'm able to reach another Hydro Cannon. This will be taken care of the Talonflame, and that is a good game. Hopping into the final match, leading Ledian into Medicham. Pretty nice lead, and the opponent is staying in, which is honestly even better. Medicham is going to fire off the Ice Punch just before I'm able to reach the Aerial Ace. Ice Punch will hit for super effective damage, but thanks to the bulk of Ledian, I can tank 2 Ice Punches relatively easily. I'm going to fire off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace able to land and get the Medicham low. Medicham is going to fire off an Ice Punch. I'm going to tank it, farm up, and throw a move just before they reach their Ice Punch. Here, they fire off what can only be a power-up punch, but these were midnight battles. I second-guessed my counting, and I commit a shield. That was a very nice bluff by my opponent, and they're able to bluff me into wasting a shield. They bring in Nidoqueen. I'm going to fire off an Aerial Ace, save the rest of the energy, and bring in my Runerigus. In comes Runerigus. They're going to fire off a Poison Fang. That probably means whatever they have in the back, they're going to try and farm me down with, and it's a Shadow Sableye. Being a Shadow, my guess is they're going to be pretty likely to shield, so I'm going to go for the bait here. Sandtomb does get the shield from the Shadow Sableye. Sableye committing to the farm down, which allows me to reach my Shadow Ball. This should guarantee the final shield, and now it's all up to Swampert to try and close this out. Since they're a Shadow, they can't be running Return. So I'm going to let this go, knowing that I do live a Shadow Foul play. I'm going to farm up, go for the snipe, but unfortunately I end up catching a move. Honestly, this works as well. Either way, it wastes their energy. They bring back in Nidoqueen. Swampert able to reach the back-to-back Hydro Cannons, and this should be game over. Hydro number 1 takes down the Nidoqueen. Hydro number 2 takes out the Shadow Sableye, and that is a good game. And now some final thoughts on XL Ledian. First off, when I heard the news that Ledian was getting buffed, I was extremely excited. This is a Pokemon that I've wanted to be buffed for a long time, and it was finally getting moveset updates. However, when it comes to actually using the updates, to be honest, I left feeling a little bit disappointed. While Dynamic Punch does offer Ledian coverage, the combination of Bug Bite and Dynamic Punch makes it very slow to get to, meaning that even in situations like going up against a Bastiodon or a Registeel, where Dynamic Punch would be helpful, unfortunately it's so slow to get to that by the time you get there, oftentimes you have taken almost all of your HP in damage. And while I do like the Silverwind rework, unfortunately on Ledian, running Aerial Ace almost feels like a must, so that way you do have the ability to hit those fighters for super effective damage. So all in all, I do believe Ledian is a Pokemon with potential, but unfortunately, the moveset updates that it received doesn't quite help it reach that potential. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.